Okay, well, gotta call the boys. Hello, all voices are AI. Trust me, if we were real, you or the world would know. I mean, seriously. Who can't tell?
You know, people can't tell even though there are many. So let's get this on the road, Jack.
Okay, guys, Metal Gear Solid 3 is a go, but they want no cutscenes, so any extra challenges?
Oh, no guns and no alerts. Or you can just let him play it normally.
Come on, let's just...
No, George, Joe and I have to settle this in a challenge.
Oh my God.
Name the challenge, Jack. You know, Joe, they say all gamers are created equal, but you look at me, and then you look at Sleepy Joe on the controller, and you can see that statement is not true. See, normally if you go one-on-one in a gaming challenge, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But I'm a gaming freak, Joe. I'm not normal. I don't mash buttons. I press the best buttons, perfect buttons. People have told me they've never seen buttons pressed like this before. So you, Joe, you got a 25% chance at best to beat me. Then you add Obama and George to the lobby, and your chances drastic go down, because now it's a four-way match. Normally you got a 33 1/4 chance of winning, but I got a 66 2/4 chance of winning, because Joe knows he can't beat me in Mario Kart, Street Fighter, Smash Bros, whatever game it is. He knows he's not even gonna try. So Joe, you take your 33 1/4 chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 1/4 chance of winning the gaming challenge. But then you take my 75% chance of winning one-on-one, because let's be honest, Joe, you're still looking for the jump button. And then you add my 66 3/4% chance in the four-way lobby, and I got a 141 3/4 chance of winning. See, Joe, the numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at game night.
You have been holding on to that, right?
Yes, I even wrote it in my notes on my phone, and I improvised adding George into it.
Okay, we will put up a poll to see what you will play. But for now, let's make a Resident Evil tier list. Resident Evil 1 on PS1 and Resident Evil on GameCube, the remake. Two versions of the same foundation, two very different results. We are sticking to the games themselves.
Sounds good to me.
And I'm just saying right now, the original Resident Evil 1 deserves more respect than people give it.
Wrong.
Oh my God, here we fucking go.
The original, very rough, very cringe, Jill Sandwich.
That line is iconic, Donald. More iconic than it felt bad it was removed in the remake.
Remake is S tier.
Yes.
Yep.
Duh.
But now, and I'm sorry, Joe, the original Resident Evil 1 on PS1. I have it in C tier.
I'm at C too. Don't get me wrong, I love the game. But the remake blows it out of the water.
Have it in D, I'm sorry. I know people love it, but it's rough.
The original establishes the mansion layout we know and love. The item box loop, the locked door progression, the urban ammo management, the file-based storytelling, the split between Jill and Chris, and the tone of being trapped in a hostile space. The game built the structure that the remake is refining.
That's fair. It is the starting point for a lot of survival horror.
And some of the PS1 presentation works in its favor with the fixed camera angles and pauses before doors open. Hell, even the early soundtrack choices create tension. This game is not just a historical footnote.
But look, here's the problem. The dialogue is rough. The live-action intro is rough. Some of the voice acting is famous for the wrong reasons. The controls are old, the combat is simple, and compared directly to the remake, it loses almost every category.
Okay, respectfully, you like Mega Man X4, right?
Yes, why?
No, this isn't happening! There's no reason for me to go on. What? What am I fighting for?
I see the point, C tier, Barry.
Okay.
All right, gentlemen, now we're ranking Resident Evil 2 on PS1 and Resident Evil 2 Remake. Two goats.
This should be easy.
Yeah, the original Resident Evil 2 is A tier. Great game, yes. But I'm not putting it over every limitation from 1998.
You mean S tier, bud?
Wrong, totally wrong. The PS1 game is S tier. Historic sales, multiple scenarios, Leon and Claire, great soundtrack, big jump from the first game, it's S.
Sorry, Joe, 3 versus 1, it's S tier.
I've got it at A tier. Great game, no question. But the fixed camera angles, the tank controls, the older voice work, and hardware limitations make it harder. And I'm looking at how it feels today.
No, absolutely not, S tier. This game expanded everything from Resident Evil 1. Better pacing, more story variety, and 2 campaigns, Leon and Claire, both getting full campaigns, and the zapping system linking decisions across runs. That was huge.
Trump's got a point there. The original RE2 does a lot of heavy lifting for the series. It broadens the scope from mansion horror to urban collapse while still keeping puzzle structure and resource management intact. And the soundtrack rules.
Okay, I see I'm outnumbered here.
Okay, S tier.
Next is clearly Resident Evil 3 and Remake.
Original's S tier, easy. It's got more game in it.
The remake is...
I'm going to interrupt here, but if you say 3 make is S tier, Donnie, I swear.
It is, though.
The remake goes in D tier because it cuts too much and replaces too little. First, major areas are gone or reduced. The clock tower is no longer a full playable section. The park is removed. The city feels smaller. You move through it faster and there is less room for exploration. Second, Nemesis is handled worse. In the original, he stalks you in a way that feels unstable and threatening. In the remake, after the early city section, he turns into a sequence of boss fights. He stops feeling like a persistent pursuer and starts feeling like a scripted set piece. Third, live selections are gone. That means less replay variety and fewer tense decision points. The remake also does not bring back Mercenaries mode, which was one of the original's biggest replay hooks. Fourth, the game is shorter and more streamlined. There are fewer puzzles, less tension in the route design, and less sense that you are surviving a citywide disaster. It moves fast, but it leaves a lot behind. That's why it's D tier. Like hell, Nest 2. Nest 2 more Nest. Like why?
The remake is polished, but it trims away mechanics and locations that gave the original its identity, so D tier.
It may not do everything the original did, but it's still a strong remake. S tier? Maybe not for everyone, but it's a lot better than people give it credit for.
Nemesis alone makes the remake D tier.
D tier, please.
Okay, I know what's going to happen, but next is Resident Evil 4 and Remake. We will save those for last. So Resident Evil 5.
A tier.
C tier.
I'm more of a B guy.
I'm saying C tier. The game is built around Chris and Sheva as a two-player setup. And when you play solo, Sheva is AI controlled, which changes the whole feel. You've got co-op, split-screen support, and mercenaries, sure, but the game leans much harder into action than a lot of people wanted from Resident Evil.
I'm surprised you did not say.
But that's Sheva. Oh my God, she is a baddie, a dime. Like, oh my God, if she was real, I'd hit.
Nope, none of that.
I could have gone the rest of my life not hearing this.
Back on track.
I'm at B tier. The co-op campaign is real good. You can heal each other, work together in combat, and handle sections that are clearly built around having a partner. When you play it with another person, a lot of the game clicks fast. That's a strong B game to me.
Nope, I'm going A tier. Resident Evil 5 was designed around two-player co-op from the start. Chris and Sheva are central to the whole structure. The inventory runs in real time during combat pressure, and Mercenaries gives it extra replay value after the campaign. If you judge it as co-op action horror, A makes sense.
Here's where I land. Trump's got a fair point on the action-heavy direction, and Bush is right that the co-op is the game's strongest feature. But Biden's argument is that Resident Evil 5 does what it sets out to do. The partnership design is baked into the campaign, the replay modes are there, and the game is at its best when you play it the way it was built to be played. As I am biased, this is my favorite Resident, as I played it with my wife. We had so much fun we got infinite weapons on our second playthrough as a deciding vote. Resident Evil 5 goes in A tier. It has too much of a fun factor to it, and it's hated because it's not Resident Evil 4.
Oh look, Resident Evil 0.
Resident Evil 0. We're putting it in D tier. Not the worst game ever made. You've got the train, which is a strong opening, but then the game starts making you carry every single item like you're moving furniture across the map.
I agree with the placement. The game has a few strengths. The pre-rendered backgrounds look good, and the Ecliptic Express is one of the better opening sections in the series. But once you leave the train, the game loses momentum. The partner system sounds interesting on paper, yet in practice it slows everything down.
Now look, I like Resident Evil. I do. But this one's got problems. Big ones. You're dropping herbs and ammo on the floor, then later trying to remember where you left them.
And the villain? The singing leech man? Come on. Resident Evil has had silly villains before, sure, but this one is bizarre even by Resident Evil standards.
The story also creates issues for the series. Rebecca feels more capable here than she does in the first game chronologically after this one. That disconnect stands out if you play both.
And the eliminators, the frogs, the bat boss, the inventory system, it's one headache after another. You beat a room and instead of feeling relief, you're thinking, now where'd I drop my grenade launcher?
Final ruling, Resident Evil 0, D tier. All right, gentlemen, next game on the list, Resident Evil 6.
That's F tier, easy.
Yeah, too messy. This game is trying to be a horror, a military shooter, an action movie, a monster brawler, and a co-op spectacle all at once.
Resident Evil 6 has a lot to offer, but its structure is bloated and its tone is inconsistent. The fucking campaigns keep interrupting themselves with gimmicks, scripted sequences, and set pieces that wear out their welcome. But the controls are great, at least in the camera. Lord have mercy, the camera.
Thank you. Finally, somebody says it. The camera is awful. You're fighting the game and the angle at the same time. It's too close, it swings around, enemies come from off screen, and half the time the game wants you to look at some explosion, helicopter, monster entrance, or collapsing building instead of the thing you're actually trying to shoot. Constantly pulling your eyes around. Very annoying. Then there's the skill point system. Terrible system, just bizarre. You pick up points, buy passive boosts, and the game makes it seem like this is deep customization. It isn't. It's menu clutter. It does nothing. Steady aim? This stuff doesn't fix the core combat, it just sits on top of it. And because it's tied to equip slots. Now picture this. You are out of ammo, drained, and almost at the end of a fight, about to fight a boss, and you open a box and you look down face full of hope, and you see a fucking skill point that is rage-inducing. Then there is Leon's campaign. It's good. For about 5 minutes. Then it turns into a disaster movie. Explosions, vehicles, giant monsters, and scripted running sections. It keeps pretending it's going back to horror. The tone is all over the place, and it's the best one. Then Chris, campaign. It's basically cover shooter energy without great cover shooter feel. You're fighting gun enemies moving through war zones. Jake's campaign is where it gets ridiculous. You've got hand-to-hand combat focus and chase scenes with you Stank chasing you. But that's Snowfield. Not gonna get into it. Ustinak stalking you like a blockbuster villain works for a minute, but it's so far removed from survival horror that it barely resembles the series. Finally, the Atis campaign is another pile of mechanics. It focuses on stealth puzzles, grappling gun, and story cleanup. It doesn't come together. It feels like the game is explaining itself after being shit for so long.
Barry,
Yeah.
put it in F tier. He already stated why.
Yep. All right, now we're ranking Resident Evil 7.
Resident Evil 7, released in 2017, shifted the series back toward horror after the heavier action focus of 4, 5, and 6. First-person view, smaller scale, more tension, and the Baker estate carried most of the early game.
The whole place looked like the walls were breathing, and Jack was great and brought tension.
Jack Baker, man, woo! That guy keeps coming back like a tax bill. You think you're done, then bam, shovel.
Tremendous villain, very rude host though. If I go into his house and a man punches me through a wall,
I'm going A tier too, maybe low A. Could hear an S argument, but that ship's going to keep it down.
I'm saying A tier, maybe high A tier. Not S because of the ship and because the molded, frankly, are not the best enemies. Little generic. The Bakers had personality, the mold was just goo.
Okay, A tier. Resident Evil 8. People talk about it a lot. Big game, very flashy, great presentation. Everybody loves the tall vampire lady. But let's be honest, okay? It's not Resident Evil 4. It wants that same energy and style with the same action horror balance, but it doesn't quite hit that level. So for me, B tier. Village is polished, varied, and it moves at a good pace. The castle section is strong, House Beneviento changes the tone well, and the game keeps introducing new ideas before they wear out. At the same time, some sections don't have the same impact as others. And some of the major issues with the game are its pacing and its terrible story moments.
I like shooting werewolves, and I like the Village. Look, here's the deal. Village does a lot well. The atmosphere's good, gunplay's decent, and each lord gives the game a different flavor. But it's a B tier, not better than 7.
B tier is good enough. All right, Resident Evil 9. Very solid, very strong presentation. I've got it at A tier.
I'm putting it in A tier too.
Now hold on, I got Resident Evil 9 in S tier. Easy. It's got pacing, and it knows when to let the player breathe and when to throw panic right back in your face. That's top shelf.
I'm with Bush on this one, S tier. It has solid encounter flow and the kind of survival horror that keeps every pickup and every hallway feeling risky. That's the mark of a top-tier Resident Evil.
I knew Bush was going to overrank it.
Not overranking, just calling it right.
I think the split here is simple. Bush and Biden are rewarding consistency and replay value. Trump and I are grading harder against the best entries in the franchise. Okay, you know what? I'll put it in S as it's actually still good, but thinking about its fusion appeals to everyone and succeeds at it, so S tier. We're ranking Code Veronica next, and I'm telling you right now, this game is C tier. The Ashfords are totally bizarre, which helps a horror game.
I think C tier is fair. You can see the ambition immediately. The scope is bigger and louder. It has more theatrical villains. It feels like the series is stretching out and trying to be larger than it was before.
Not gonna lie, the backtracking is horrendous, and that major weapon lockout is rough.
Don't let me get started on Steve and his game pattern.
Bro, Steve is the homie, don't disrespect him.
Fuck Steve, C tier. Now Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2.
Let me say this now. Revelations 1 goes in B, Revelations 2 goes in A.
Revelations 1 is solid. It brought the series back towards survival horror after the more action-heavy stretch. Jill is great, and the atmosphere is one of the game's best strengths.
That boat was genuinely creepy. Every time you turned a corner, there was some weird fish monster waiting for you. I like that. It felt more focused than some of the bigger games.
Yeah, and there was also the Genesis scanner. You could use it to scan enemies and spot ammo, herbs, and hidden stuff, so it made the game feel a little different from the main Resident Evil games.
The main problem with Revelation 1 is that it keeps disrupting the pacing. Just when Jill's sections start getting good, the game cuts away to Chris, Parker, Jessica, Keith, or Quint, and some of those parts just aren't as interesting.
That's true. Every time the game got rolling, it'd cut away and say, now here's another group. And I'd think, well, hold on, I was busy fighting sea goblins.
B tier seems fine.
Now Revelations 2, that one's better. A tier feels right.
Yeah, Revelations 2 is just better. Claire and Barry are a great combo, and honestly, Barry kind of carries the second half of the game. He's got that perfect dad energy the whole way through.
Revelations 2 makes the partner system work a lot better than the first game ever did with all its character switching. Claire and Moira actually feel like a real team, and Barry and Natalia do too. One handles the fighting, the other helps with support stuff, so whether you're playing co-op or by yourself, everybody has a clear role.
That's A tier right there.
All right, gentlemen, Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City. The idea? Very strong. Very, very strong. You get to play as Umbrella guys in Raccoon City during the outbreak, shooting zombies, fighting spec ops, messing around in that whole RE2 and RE3 timeline. On paper, that is a slam dunk.
The concept is carrying a lot of weight here because if you pitch 4-player co-op squad shooter set in the middle of the Raccoon City disaster, that sounds like a guaranteed hit. It should have been easy.
Yeah, I mean, the setup sounds great. You've got zombies everywhere, Umbrella in the middle of it, Leon showing up, and the whole city going to hell. That's a pretty solid premise.
It's one of those games where you can see exactly what they were trying to make, and you can also see where it fell apart. The squad system is decent in theory, the different classes are a nice touch, and there's some fun in co-op. But moment to moment, it's shit.
F-tier game. You can have a decent time, but you're also going to notice pretty fast why people bounced off it.
F tier it is. So next is Umbrella Corps.
Easy F-tier, maybe lower if we had one. It's trying to be a Resident Evil shooter, but the gameplay feels messy. There's not much to do, and overall it just doesn't really come together.
Yeah, that sounds about right. On paper, it had a decent setup. A close-range multiplayer shooter with Resident Evil maps and quick matches. So no more on this game. All right, let's do this right. Resident Evil Resistance and Resident Evil Reverse. 2 multiplayer Resident Evil games, 2 very different results.
Barry, they are both F tier. Let's move on to Resident Evil 4.
F-tier, Barry. Stop stalling, Jack.
Yeah, let's move on.
Look, okay, Resident Evil 4 and 4 Remake. I'm sitting back on this.
Same.
I'll make this simple. Remake is S tier. Easy. It looks better, plays better, the gunplay feels smoother, the movement is better, and the knife mechanics are better. It's a huge upgrade. The original, a tier. Still a classic, still great, but the remake cleaned up a lot of it.
Come on, man. Original RE4 is S-tier, no question. That game changed everything. The pacing, the village fight, the merchant, Leon talking trash every 5 seconds, all of it. The remake is really good, sure, but I've got that in A tier. The original earned that spot first. That's the point. You don't get the remake without the original kicking the door open.
Sure, but when I sit down to play, I want the better version. The remake controls better, the parry system is great, Ashley is a lot less annoying, and the whole game looks fantastic. That's S tier. Very easy decision.
Fine, but the original has that exact arcade feel. It moves fast, it's quotable, and it never wastes your time. You can feel how locked in it is the second the village fight starts.
And then you've got tankier controls, older animations, and a few parts that feel dated. People don't always say it out loud, but it's true.
Dated doesn't mean worse.
All right, here's where everybody stands. Joe's got the original in S and the remake in A. Trump's got the remake in S and the original in A. I've got both in S. So here's how we settle it. If either of you wants to change the list, then you've both got to win a challenge.
Street Fighter 6.
You're on.
All right, if Biden wins, the remake stays in A, and we use his rules when we rank Metal Gear Solid 3. If Trump wins, RE4 drops to A tier, and we use Trump's rules instead. Deal?
Yep.
Okay, get ready.
For the kill switch, snap, jizzle, pose, 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 jizzle, pose, 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 jizzle, pose, 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 jizzle, pose, pose, pose.